When last we left off, as always, a question that must be answered as quickly as possible. You began this circuitous route on your way to effectively the bay, stopping by First Holding because you didn't want to go through Ashen Holds, aka the place where it's kind of racist.
Yeah, fuck that place.
On the way, some things occurred. Namely, the sky turned dark and it began raining fish corpses, as sounds akin to thunder ripped through the air. A shape in the sky turned out to be that of some kind of immense, winged, leathery being that was decidedly a dragon. Whilst the party crammed itself as hard inside a tiny hut as possible to make sure that they weren't all bludgeoned to death by, dead fish, which would have been a pretty embarrassing way for a party of adventurers to die, all things considered. What happened? Well, it wasn't exactly what one would like to describe as rocks fall. We were killed by falling dead fish.
Very embarrassing.
Trying to get into Bork's Valhalla.
Yeah, they're not going to really let you through the gate with that one, I'm afraid. And whilst in there, Jeanette happened upon a thought. Thus far, nothing I have tried has gotten an answer in regards to this orb. So perhaps a dragon might know. And while her fairy daughter blasted the ground with coal lightnings in an attempt to draw it closer, Jeanette did something that no one has done yet, and that was to try and just pour magic into the orb. Sadly, she failed her check, realizing that pumping magic into this orb was causing it to vibrate dangerously. And she failed that check so hard that it exploded in her hand without even a thought of dropping it. It didn't so much explode in her hand as it exploded her hand. Thick shards of glass cut it straight off. And then she failed her constitution save in order to stay conscious, because getting your hand blown off is unpleasant.
Highly traumatic.
Yes, it's what someone would call really not a good time. You did need a hand with that, really.
Yeah, because I mishandled it. It was great.
It's true. But that's not all. The shattering of this orb released something. This viscous, sort of pink, steamy fog. It permeated the inside of the barrier and floated upwards towards the sky. For a brief moment, there was nothing. Gradually, this falling death came to an end. Of course, it was accompanied by this dark shape. It came to a crashing landing in front of the entirety of the party, pink steam, viscous, boiling between its teeth, each of which as large as a person is tall. And that's where we pick up. It's about as close as I could get scale-wise to the situation you're in.
It's bigger than the tiny hut.
It is way bigger than it's bigger than that, but
No shit.
It's colossal units in 5e tend to just take up this much space for the simple fact of them taking up this much space. Or whatever size category it was. What the fuck is that size category? Your size category is gargantuan, sorry. This gargantuan dragon peeks down into your little tiny hut and opens its mouth slowly wide.
Just gonna. Are there curtains on the windows?
Right now, it's just a dome, I believe. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tiny hut in actuality is just a little igloo of force.
Yeah.
We just like to make it look like a hut, like an actual little hut.
Technically, Scout, I was pumped full of healing magic, and that generally wakes you up. Can I wake up, or is the only person speaking Draconic going to stay asleep now?
Give me another Constitution save. Getting healed doesn't cure unconsciousness.
I mean,
It doesn't?
Yes, it does.
Does it
does.
actually literally
Yeah.
cure unconsciousness?
Yes, it
Well,
literally.
in which case, yes. Your eyes flutter open. It probably takes a few moments for the world to rewrite itself. And you are probably wondering who turned out the sun. Your arm, like, straight up, just hurts all the way up your arm. When
Jeanette!
when you attempt to use your hand to do, anything at all, it hurts even more. Phantom pains sort of dig into your wrist as you attempt to send the signal, clench and unclench, and you look down. That hand is gone. It is mostly pulpy shrapnel-y mess all over the ground.
Regeneration works pretty fast, though.
You
Like,
were
we
healed
had
the
to-
moment you went down. It does
Oh,
not...
was I?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought someone waited. Never mind.
And as well, regenerating healing damage happens quite quickly. Regenerating, restoring missing limbs is a lot slower of a process.
Well, I remember differently because we had to work very fast when her lung was regenerating.
Yes, skin. You didn't have to rebuild, bone structure, muscle, sinew, and all that shit, did it?
How dare you point out flaws in my logic?
Yeah.
The target's severed body members, fingers, legs, tails, and so on, if any, are restored after 2 minutes.
Yeah, and she's been down for all of 30 seconds at best.
Okay, so you have
She
another
went,
minute.
her
another
hand
minute and a
exploded.
half,
She
Jeanette.
she went down. People rushed over her and started pumping her full of healing. This thing landed, and she has woken up and gone, "Ow, my hand is missing." That's literally, it has been the space of 30 seconds at best.
So you you can in real time watch it regenerate, but
How
it is
horrifying.
going.
Yeah, that's really horrifying.
I mean to you.
I will pick Jeanette up with all my tentacles and shake her a little bit. Jeanette, Jeanette,
Ah,
Jeanette.
what? No.
There is a giant dragon outside,
It got closer, guys.
and your hand exploded into sparkles and rainbows. It was very pretty.
Yeah. This head will lean up against the tiny hut. Its body
Do you-
is literally
can you
all the way
feel-
back here, but its head
Can you
is
feel things
basically
with your
flush
ghost
with the
hand
dome.
now.
I will attempt to bow as best as I can while held up in the air by tentacles and speak to it in Draconic. Ho there, mighty dragon. I hope we haven't disturbed you. Yeah, you can feel that spooky ghost hand.
Okay. Now, can voices be heard through the layer of this tiny hut?
Can't they?
That's a good question. Let me look.
I don't know if they can.
Well, the door's open, but
The door is open. Okay.
I was about to type in, I'm readying an action to close the tiny hut if the dragon, starts to, attack us.
And then the dragon dispels magic.
Well, you know what?
We don't know.
That
it can
readies
do
me
that.
a turn.
I don't think we know we can do that. It can do that. Do we know that?
You
Do
have
we know
no
what
fucking
dragons
idea.
do?
You guys
We know
know fuck
jack
all
shit
about
about
dragons.
Okay, we don't know
I-
what this thing can do then. We
You
have no
aren't
idea.
supposed to. You don't even think that they're from what you hear of dragons of legend. They're still not meant to be this fucking big.
I asked my book very nicely and it didn't tell me anything.
Yeah, it did not know goddamn shit about this guy.
Alright, the dome is opaque from the outside of any color you choose, obviously pink. But it's transparent from the inside. Creatures and objects can move freely through it, so, you can just stick your head out if you need to.
Alright, cool.
Okay. I technically am being held in the air by tentacles.
There you go. And Thyri also has her head, peeked out.
Alright then, cool. Its mouth opens maybe to what us human folk with our human-sized mouths would be your mouth opens an inch. So for this thing, its mouth parts, the height of a human, which is, barely enough room. It's attempting to speak quietly, so you don't all get your eardrums exploded by it using words.
How very kind of it.
Yay!
Oh, it's a nice dragon, thankfully.
Well, you say
A
that.
polite dragon, I say.
That said, when a rumbling voice burbles out of it, it is still loud enough to make your like everything hurt.
You can not so much you can hear it, but you can also feel it in your
Yeah.
like every syllable in
All
your
of your
chest.
bones.
Now,
If you've ever been like at the front of a stage in a concert,
Mhm.
it's whispering is doing that to you.
Oh god, I thought I was gonna die the last time I did that.
Yeah.
yeah, I've worked at concerts before. It's actually in front of it is that loud, but it's amazing how directional sound is. Like standing like working behind there, it's not actually that loud. It's pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does Anna roll to see if this has happened to her before?
No.
No, I can
Aw.
safely say that Santa has never seen a dragon before.
For a minute, I thought you said Santa has never
Me
seen
too.
a dragon before.
Santa!
It's
Now, is
Santa.
Anna met Santa?
See, well, that's actually the more apt question. Has Anna met Santa?
Jesus Christ.
Ah,
You face Maltrex the Abyssal, great father of wormkind, drinker of immortal souls and the end of the endless sea.
Yeah.
For what reason have you called me down, and gifted unto me that of the Avatar's half-being?
See how you're up.
Everyone just looks at Sirish and Jeanette.
oh, the ancient orb. I had meant to ask of your great wisdom what it was.
I have stated its name.
Well,
See, we didn't know that until now.
I just got a
I-
message over Discord from my roommate. I think I can hear monster growling through the walls. It's reverberating through the walls. You can feel it in his feet. I do a good death metal.
Nice.
hopefully it doesn't go on too long so you destroy your voice.
Well, I mean, proper death metal growling doesn't really go in the voice. It's all happening in the like base of the throat, the top of the lungs.
I was just reading someone talk about that. Yeah.
I can do that for quite a while.
Nice.
To us, the information of who or what that is was lost long ago. I have traveled the world asking ancients of all sorts what it was. None among the Warforged nor the Fey kind would knew. I thought that a mighty dragon might.
Of course they would not know. The workings of the gods are not for that of the mortals. They are not for that of the Fae. They are not for that of the artificial lives.
Yeah, it's totally fine, except for the fact that Dovahkiin is pregnant in another village right now.
It takes a step forward. The dome itself absorbs all sound. Like you guys can, and like even reverberation and stuff. You guys can see the world around you trembling, but you are unearthly still within this dome. Stamp.
Yeep.
Earthquake!
Yeah, I mean this thing literally just blots out the sky.
Your impudence is something you should be destroyed for.
Please don't.
And then you see something quite horrifying. All of its teeth, all at once. The corners at the back of its, house-length muzzle quirks up just a little bit.
Huh.
I have a far better idea.
And what would that be?
Okay.
I'll do it.
I'm glad that we're all on the same page.
Fucking deviants. Okay. So 2 titanic hands, well, I say hands, expansive, endlessly seemingly sized hands reach out. They are easily as large around cupped together as the entirety of the dome. Again, in the dome you can't feel reverberations. You can see the ground around you splinter as it digs the tips of its claws into the floor, all around your dome. And then something happens that you do feel, because you are now no longer on the floor. Your whole dome is holding a layer of the ground together, because it is technically impenetrable from the bottom, as your entire little tiny hut is lifted bodily off the ground. Cherry and Raisin both faint.
Raisin?
Yeah, even Raisin, they faint.
Okay. This casts level 30 sleep on the party.
It just lifts you all up, slowly in front of its face. You are now, fucking fuck knows how high off the ground. You can see the landmass the clearest you've ever seen it.
I'll peek my head out and go, eep!
If you peek your head out, you probably get frostbite on your nose.
Oh my.
I'm guessing that this thing can be seen from every town in the surrounding area and from Stronghold.
Yes.
They can all see this thing.
Yes. And then, the world lurches as one. And you are in the air, properly. The dragon's feet lift off, whilst you are being carried.
Where's it? It's taking us somewhere.
Oh god, no!
Well, we're going on an adventure, guys!
I'm going on an adventure!
Alright, so we're going to Savin. Okay.
Oh god, no.
Are we gonna be...
This is the worst thing that could have possibly happened.
We're just gonna end up over here.
Yeah, over here.
Correct.
Dragon Island. Oh god. Well, at least we're gonna fly over the tower.
Oh god.
Hey, Jeanette, is that your house down there?
I can see my house from here!
Do you want us to drop you off?
I wanted. Don't worry. I just jump off and activate my maglev coil. Oh wait.
Where's the stop at next bus stop lever?
Stop this crazy thing!
So much for going to the beach, guys.
Well, we are going to a beach. It's just a different beach.
Different
Yeah,
beach.
that's the beach we wanted to go to.
A different colder
The one on
beach.
the opposite side of the country. It's fine.
Listen.
From up here, you are higher than any mortals have ever been in the sky. Is there anything that you would like to actually try to do?
Take lots.
He probably takes 3 wing flaps, and you are beyond the cloud line. The sky is something where the stars feel they are the closest to you have ever seen.
Oh, I'm just gonna be staring at the stars.
Get out of here,
Saoirse
Eldritch
is
Lock.
going to be giggling helplessly, and I am going to be furiously writing notes.
It'd be interesting to try and memorize the positions of all these stars.
Yeah, look, you can all do things like intelligence checks, you can do perception-y things, whatever you want to try and learn while you are taller and higher up than any people have ever been.
I would
Alright.
like to insight the star. No.
So, what is it you're looking for? You're looking at stars, yes?
Yeah, let's go. Let's find out some interesting stuff about stars.
Okay. Now, there is a star that is usually invisible. It's usually only trackable by the idea that it crosses paths with other stars behind it from time to time, like a blot that washes it out and can only be seen on the clearest of days. From up here, you can see Pythoon's mask. It is a series of stars that are darker than the others.
Ooh.
Is anyone here born under the sign of Pythoon?
Yes, seriously.
Yes.
Can the both of you please make a
This is the deception
Constitution
one, right?
Yes. Can both of you please make for me a Constitution saving throw?
Oh my.
Rip Sirsha.
Now, okay then. So, Sirsha, while she is giggling, her giggling suddenly stops. She will look down at herself in alarm and then start tugging at her face, where it looks like a mask has grown. It seems to, loop beneath her ears, wraps around her face, stops beneath her nose, like quite literally, a classic bandit mask. Although it's flush with her chin, it doesn't go any further down past it. When she speaks, her voice still comes through loud and clear, although you can see the mask move in, and she seems kind of confused.
Oh darn, this sounds fun.
Oh boy.
Does anyone else attempt anything?
I'm going to take. Let's see. Actually, do I have rope? This is an important question. Where's my backpack?
What are the tops of the clouds like? Are they like the bottom of the clouds?
Pythoon is not a mind flayer of any kind.
That's what you think.
But it's a trickster.
Okay, so can I make an intelligence check to see what the heck is going on with Sirsha?
Do you have the religion skill?
I do not.
You can try a raw intelligence check. It is at disadvantage.
Can't you just click on all the skills and just roll them without... It's not like Pathfinder? Right, Savin? Can't you just roll a skill?
What? Sorry,
Yeah,
Tash was
in
barking
5th
in my ear.
edition. In 5th edition, even if you don't have a skill, you can just roll it.
It's identical to making the skill check, though.
Yeah, alright, so in 5e, there's
He's
no
really-
such thing as a skill check. There are ability checks with proficiencies.
You can see here, religion is an intelligence skill, so it's going to be +2 for her if it's untrained. So I tend to, out of habit more than anything, just, use the root word, but it is still essentially a religion check. But it's being made a disadvantage because you didn't actually have any kind of experience or learning in religion. She has no fucking idea.
I tried.
Wait,
I know.
quick. Remove your face. Remove your mask. You'll gain a persona.
Yes.
Your tentacles reach out beyond the boundaries of the dome.
Oh, really?
How cold is it?
It is a painful, painful cold, but it's a cold that Anna has worked with before because it's very similar to that of the, Hunger of Hadar?
Yes.
Yes, it's very similar to that cold because indeed, you're scraping atmosphere by this point.
Seat belts, everyone!
Yeah. And when you do so, this cold seems to creep through the tentacles and into you, Anna. You feel like this, just a longing. You feel a deep longing, in the very core of your being. You don't know what it's even in regards to, just that you long for something. It's as though you've been lost for a very long time, and you don't know where to go or where you are. The rest of you make these preparations for a hard landing. And then the dragon Maltrex begins to sail essentially. That's the only way to describe it. His wings go taut, and he begins to slowly circle his way back down towards the continent. This time he takes his time in the landing, and you will be able to pass through the line of the clouds. You are now no longer higher than any mortal has ever been, although you're certainly very high up. You can see the entirety of the continent. You can see beyond the ring of the trees to the coldest of the cold wastes. You can see the ice lakes. You can probably see Anna's home. You can see as well, beyond that line to the south, the mountains into lands that seem baffling to the lot of you, considering none of you have ever seen such a thing. There are like thick trees that don't have snow upon them, that they aren't piney in any kind of way. They're like lush with life and color. You can see a great expansive stretch, like sand, as though sand were eating the sun itself. It looks warm. You could see civilizations. You can see a tower as well. A tower to the south of epic proportions, of a size that would possibly put a challenge to Maltrex's own greatness. And then your view is cut short as the world begins turning in these circles as he tightens up into a corkscrew. And then you're plummeting very, very fast. You can see, like, for a brief moment, this, like, almost friction, like scales peel away from Maltrex's body because he lands hard on it, on an expanse of, like, just, it looks like sheer obsidian for maybe a mile. He lands down on it, the floor splinters and cracks. Still, you've been accompanied by this uncomfortable silence as this dome, like, you know, keeps these sensations, these vibrations out. And now you're in the middle of an aisle. Maltrex will slowly put your dome down in the middle of this field of obsidian.
So, why'd you take us here?
Looks down at you again.
Ask not my whims.
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry.
There is a vole in your dome that has no idea where he is. No. Like, in fact, it was probably very disconcerting to see that the layer of floor you had in this dome was probably, like, maybe an inch thick. Because, you know, it's being held by an, to you guys, a transparent force. So when, like, you know, your feet step on a piece of ground and, like, move some grass or some mud or some snow out of the way, like, below was just his hand and then the nothingness below you.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His fingers pull away, and he shakes his hands out gently.
This is an old stomping ground. You have brought unto me something I have not consumed in quite a long time. You will find answers for my whims here in these lands, lands of my children and great children. You will find the other half. You will gift it to me.
The other half?
You will find your answers.
Okay.
Right, understood. Will do.
Its finger taps the dome as though it were, like, admonishing a child.
Does
the
the
ground
dome
around
pop?
the ground around you shakes, but the bubble doesn't move at all. So I mean, you get the full view of this thing going clunk, 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 and the ground and the
Pink.
earth around you, like, shattering and cracking. And it looks around slowly. Its wings lift slowly up once more, and you realize that this was the motion it made when it was about to lift off the first time. You get to see it up close as opposed to within like this nest of its like grasping hands. And it takes off. The floor below you shatters. Like the dome sinks probably a foot into the ground as like obsidian breaks like so much glass. And Maltrax vaults into the sky, 2 flaps, before coasting amongst the clouds. You can see it enter the clouds again, if only because its entry, like, back into the land has, destroyed every cloud in range. But eventually it becomes a shadow. And it flies off in a direction you can't see. Indeed, you aren't there so much as you are basically here in the tip.
Just the tip.
Just the tip, just to see how it feels.
Guys, what the fuck just happened?
We were carried off by a dragon?
A lot of things happened. I feel like we need a good drink after this.
I accidentally
We need a good drink during this.
I accidentally fed a dragon my orb, and now we're here now. And he wants us to find the other orb. And
What
I don't
other
wanna
orb?
Find out. Apparently, there's another one. There's 2.
What is
Now.
going on?
Now we're gonna
The-
feed it to him.
no.
So
The dragon called it what? Half of the avatar, something like that?
something like that. It made no sense to me. But he said we'll find our answers here.
Does Saoirse still have that mask?
Oh my god, what happened? Just like
We went up so high.
pick up my daughter and start poking at her face.
I feel like I've forgotten something.
What does this mask look like? Is it still there?
The mask is still there. When you tap your finger against it, you don't tap your finger against the mask, like you just tap your finger against Saoirse. Like you can still feel skin. It's almost like it's an illusion, but Saoirse is able to interact with it. She reaches up and grabs at it, and you can see that she's literally tugging a cloth, and it snaps back into place over her face again afterwards. She'll shrug at you. Kind of cozy.
Ha ha.
Maybe you can change the way it looks. Have you tried doing something like that?
Make me a charisma test from Saoirse.
Nope.
No. Okay. So Saoirse tries to, invade some control over this thing, but it doesn't manifest in any way. Anna, you ponder this strange feeling. And as you do so, Squiggles will look up at you, from the little Squiggles papoose, concerned. There's like a glow to all of her tentacles that looks like for the briefest moment the stars were still reflected in them before it vaguely fades away again. And a tentacle will pat you on the head. And she will return to the papoose.
She opens her mouth, and instead of a squeak, she's just Yog so lost for I do.
Yeah. Okay. So where are we exactly? We're on like a blasted field of obsidian, you said?
Yes, there is a stretch of obsidian for a mile in every direction. You can see that there are other cliff edges in the distance. There is something that seems to be like trees, although like one half of them has been blasted. Imagine you are at like the impact site of a fiery explosion, except instead of charcoaling everything around you, it obsidianed it.
Haskrin, what were you doing here?
No, he was just stood in the dragon toilet.
Oh no!
They take the deadliest shits. It's just hardcore obsidian.
Giant obsidian poos.
Oh no.
It's just, and those would be big enough to kill everyone in a house. Just like immediately, obsidian falls to the ground and kills everyone.
The obsidian flow spell from Pathfinder is just known as Dragon Fart here.
Yeah.
No, it's a shart.
Dragon shot.
Shark.
Yes, the dragon shards are the dragon shots.
And the people that find it just make some dragon shark weapons.
Now then, as you're all sort of in the middle of this, this dome, you can see lights approaching. Like, it's quite dark up here because you've transitioned to the hardcore north. It's just obsidian. Like, it's brighter than it could be thanks to the fact that the overhead cloud cover has been annihilated. But, you know, it's already very much approaching nighttime this far up.
So it's like, what, 3 in the afternoon?
Yeah, exactly. It's probably 4, actually, thinking about it.
I will light my lantern of revealing, because
Yeah.
act as a regular lantern.
Well, before your lantern activates, you can see other lights dotting the edge of this obsidian crater, like from poaching from around trees. You can see a large number of figures. They seem to have, you know, like heavy numbers of furs all over them. In their hands, they hold weapons. One appears to be wearing a robe. They step forward amongst the group that are emerging from these trees. You realize none of them are carrying torches. These flames, indeed, as one might suspect, come from tails.
Yes.
Oh,
Meanders!
yeah. We're in the Salamanderland.
You are in Manderland.
I have come home, finally.
My people!
Savin gets advantage with every
A
interaction.
car in every garage. A dick in every butthole.
I think you mean a tail here. Well, actually, maybe not.
No,
here.
not here. No, not in
These are
this setting.
literal
Home
fire.
slice.
That's actual hot fire.
Lame.
I mean, if you put it out, they fall asleep like canaries.
They get very sleepy and cuddly.
Alright, well, Thyri will also light her own fire, or will light her own lantern, because, you know, terrified of the dark.
I can hear little doggo jingle jangles now that she's got her collar tags.
Yeah, she's being very active right now. She's bouncing around and trying to get over under my chair.
Good doggo. Yeah, I mean, Anna, you can probably find some obsidian that fits nicely. It might need carving to get them to go in there properly, but they'll rest in the stag skull. You can grab some bigger ones to, you know, carve off later.
Yeah, I'll polish them.
Yep. Help! My stag skull's got dragon shot in it. Yeah, this place is the only other place obsidian exists besides like the volcano.
Interesting.
And yes, there are forces approaching. Some of you have got out some torches. What do you do otherwise?
I do not pull out a weapon.
Yeah, my tiny hut's still here, so I'm just gonna, like, close the door.
Sure.
Peek my head out. Because I can't hear anything if you close the door.
Alright, I'll leave it open just a little crack, but, you know, I'm still gonna be braced to close it in the event that this goes badly for us.
Yeah.
There we go. Bring you over to this. Basically, you are technically facing the other way, but it's very hard to move that whole dome without fucking everything up. So I'm just going to leave you sat there. And let's see here. Do I have a token for the salamander leader?
Ends up just being Taz.
Ends up being Helia.
Oh,
It's
God.
this one. It's in this pose as well. Welcome to my lands.
Please park here.
Please park here. We have been told of your coming.
And now we wish to experience
and now
it.
we wish to experience your coming.
God damn it.
No, let's go with this lass here.
Oh,
yeah, that's great. That's great.
The discount dragon girl.
Aw, that's mean.
I mean, you've seen the art, right?
Yeah, I made that token.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't think of a better way to describe it, sorry.
I'd use this one as well, of course, because pretty pink bow. But, you know.
It is a bit lewd.
A bit lewd. It's also got invisible backgrounds, which I'm not a fan of invisible backgrounds on tokens. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Look at that. You can see some through behind her.
Oh,
That just
no.
always irks me a bit.
No.
Like, invisible backgrounds belong on backgrounds, not on tokens.
So
No,
anyway,
I was asked how long that journey took. Like 10 minutes at best. It did not take long. They have hours in that hut. They have an entire 8 hours in the hut if they need to.
And my hand is back.
Yep,
this is true.
this is true. You no longer have a little baby hand. She walks up and let's see here. We need some scouts. I'm just gonna use these as just generic scout tokens.
They're cute.
I will address them in Draconic. Oh. Hello there.
Yep.
I am also on set of the dome. Sears's my silver shoulder. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're leaving the dome.
Yeah. Also, Titian has been like completely silent. He's just been like, I need to do some thinking about this.
I need to go and have a smoke.
He's doing that equivalent in his brain. Like he's just perched on the edge of the carriage. Like I need to do a think. Just give me a minute.
Poor Henry's gonna need like
Thyri
forever.
Oh yeah, no. Henry probably fainted with the horses.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Wow, that's mean. All right.
Well, no, it's really quite likely they're roughly equivalent intelligence.
They're about
Pretty
the same
much.
level, almost.
He just pulls out a fainting couch and just falls gracefully upon it.
Oh my, I got the vapors.
Henry got vapors.
For a moment, I was just like, what voice should she use? Or just she should use the Maltrex voice to fuck you all up?
Terrifying.
Welcome back here, travelers.
Alright, well, I guess if everyone else is leaving, then Thyri will slowly step out. She'll tell Astra to stay here and keep,
I see what you're doing, Kinathis.
She'll pause as Anna approaches a little bit closer. She'll hold up a hand. Please hold up there, traveler.
She didn't respond when I talked during her Draconic? Okay.
No, she does speak up, but she appeared to be, like, thinking pensively, but Anna kept on approaching, so she gives her the, you stand where you are.
But she's so interesting.
Hi, how do you do?
Never seen a lizard person before.
She'll squint for a moment. You travelled on the wings of a great being we have seen but once in our generation. Why?
We wish we knew.
He asked us to do him a boon.
Yeah, something about finding the other half of an orb or something like that?
A pink orb, about so big. Anna will, hold up a thing, and kind of looks like this, and will
Anna
dig
will?
out, like, no, not Anna, Jeanette.
Oh,
We'll just, like,
I'm gonna do it.
hold up her hands, and, like, and a shadow pantomimes, and, like, about so big, and kind of looks like, and kind of make out of material like this, and just, like, rips a piece out that's still embedded in her flesh.
We say asked, but more told, demanded.
Voluntold.
You were voluntold, yes. I see. I will have to ask our elders about that. I wonder if the reason he called upon you here is because there is a place he can't go. Although, hard to imagine that. And she will look reverently up at the sky where he had been but a few minutes earlier.
Well, he had asked us to do this thing for him, and also that we would find answers to my questions.
I see. She'll look amongst a lot of you. Is that dome quite safe? She'll squint at the, like, opaque pink thing that you've got there.
Yes, it's a dome of force.
I understand that, but what do you hide from us? Forgive my mistrust. The circumstances are very unusual.
Horses, a cart, and a fainted half-orc?
Yeah, you could say the circumstances are very crazy on our part as well, considering we were, I don't know, about halfway across the continent?
We weren't even on this continent.
She'll look amongst you all. I see. Also, can everyone give me a constitution save, except for Anna? Anna is used to this level of cold.
Oh, God. Wait, are these Frostmanders, or are they still, like...
No, they're still Firemanders. Like, they themselves appear to be quite decent sources of heat, but the reality is you are probably as far north as any of you, except for Anna, have ever been in your lives.
Alright.
Well, I got frostbite.
Wow.
Oof. Yeah, no, Cynthia, the first thing you wanted... Oh, God, all of you are just like, fuck, I was not prepared for this.
Yeah, Thyri steps outside, turns around, and goes back in.
What does winter gear do for you?
It gives you advantage on these saves.
Okay.
And also, like, if you do things like camp up for the night, you don't just get sick, you are dressed better for it. But none of you were in, like, fur levels necessary for that. For Anna, winter gear does perfectly fine. Winter gear is just normal clothing up there in the north. This is some next level shit.
I don't like being here. I want to go home.
Astra will look at you and then, like, look out at, the legion of attractive scaly women. Then you remember her first casual encounter happened to be with a Slamalander.
Yeah, Astra, it's really cold outside. You don't want to go out there.
Please, it can't be that cold. Constitution save.
Yeah, I will just, like, push her face outside and be like, oh, really?
Yeah, give her a con save, let's see.
Alright, con save. Of course.
I'm fine. She'll step past. I got this.
That's straight.
Yep. And she'll look amongst it. It would seem your companions are less used to this cold.
I like the cold. Cold's nice. But yeah, they don't like it.
So I see. She'll, like, pause and crane her head as she watches these tentacles form their own little pretend tail. Interesting.
Whack.
Oh, who'd we lose?
Winter.
Stop.
We lost winter in winter. Oh no! Lost winter in the cold. It was too cold for him.
I'll miss you, Pets and Cold.
Yep.
I will. I'll just assume that Viv was like, oh my god, it is really cold, and she'll just go inside as well.
Yeah. What was the DC for that?
The DC for it was 14. Anyone get?
Okay. Yeah, Saoirse did.
All right, Jeanette, you're fine for now, but like, you'll need to get inside within a minute, or like double down on additional clothing or warmth.
I will start just putting on more clothing as I introduce myself as Jeanette, Hauptmann, and Apothecary. And this is my daughter Saoirse. Saoirse strikes like a victory pose.
Yep. As she has always wanted to do. She will look amongst you. You are a very assorted selection. That said, we rarely have any outside of our own kind or dragons around here.
Are you dragon? You look like kind of like dragon. It's not the big dragon.
And like rooting around, grabbing more clothes, and then like, oh yeah, and this is my dog.
I won't bother pulling out a token, but yeah, like Tambork's head sticks out of your magic bag.
He borks. He just says bork.
Yeah. Bork. And then he retreats back in the bag again.
Just goes back to sleep.
Entering sleep bork mode. Running in dreams. Chasing tail in dreams. Dreaming complete. Yes, she will look amongst you all and... welcome back, pets. Did Net die? Oh, no, he's not actually back in the call.
No, he's not in the call. Might be on his mobile cell phone. English. How dare you? How dare you slight
Hey, there he is.
language?
Yay.
Your internet go fucko?
Yup.
Oh god, your yup came out as a yeah up.
Oh dear.
It's okay. Matt, we hear you just fine. But yes, the lady will introduce herself as Shrenza Jal Elieth, aka Shrenza, if you would like an easier way to pronounce her name.
Thank you.
It's a very exotic name.
Not to us, it isn't. Yours are certainly exotic. They only appear to have. Which one is your surname?
Hauptmann.
Sanafir.
Right. Oh yeah, pets, before you have, can I get a con save against the cold, DC 14?
Sure.
Sure thing, Sam. Alright, you are okay so far in this miserable, miserable cold. But it is the furthest north the Viv has ever been. It is blisteringly, painfully cold. Only Anna seems completely unbothered, and Jeanette, although she failed and immediately got some wind chill, is just throwing on additional layers.
Saoirse's fine, though.
Saoirse is fine, yep. Ludwig doesn't mind. Thyri, froze a little toesies, as did Cynthia, and they ran inside.
Henry
I believe
still fainted in the
Cynthia...
hut.
Yeah, Henry got the vapors. Cynthia is, forcing herself to, lean out of the dome, but it's, just wind chilling your nose. You'll be able to keep that up for a minute before you fall to harm, I'm afraid.
Okay, then.
Yeah, Astra's doing okay as well. That was my stomach.
My
grumbly noise. He presses her tits against the door. No, they would go through. She'd freeze her nips off. You can't press yourself up against the surface.
Yeah, I'd rather not lose those. Those are, great assets.
Please, I'm so fond of having nipples. I don't want to freeze them off. No, I don't respect anyone, so it doesn't count. Okay. Yes, alright then. So yes, Shrenza will introduce herself, and these are her initial scouts. I suppose then I should escort you to the village. Do forgive our lack of surety, but I would assume you would like to get out of the blasted land. At which point she will indicate the blasted land is likely what they call this great obsidian sheet.
It is quite exposed, yes. Saoirse just cheers. We were really high! I got a mask!
And she'll blink and look at you. A mask, you say? Congratulations.
Yes.
I wonder if there's a way I wonder if there's a way I could make fire on my tail. Fit in better.
What
Green
tail?
flame!
I can make fire in my hands. Starts
So can I.
Yeah, and Anna's coiled her tentacles into their own little black tail.
And I'll snap my fingers, and my index finger will light up.
Yep.
Not as cool as juggling fireballs.
Hmm.
I don't know how to light you on fire without hurting.
Yeah, you do.
Without hurting her.
Okay.
I guess I could cast Sphere Friend and just keep it above you? Maybe? Is that how that works? I'm not sure how that works. Mom, is that how it works? Jeanette shrugs. Oh,
Sphere Friend hovers low to the ground. You can't make it go above people. Well, I mean, yeah, actually, I suppose you could try to, but she would constantly be taking damage because she'd be adjacent to it.
Yeah, Sphere Friend is really, really, really hot.
Maybe I could try to make my flame blade go on my... Wait, what if I make my tails clutch, grab hold of a dagger.
So-
Oh my God,
What happens when the Lantern of Revealing hits Saoirse's mask?
You'd swear that it makes the light beams that are shining on her dim a little.
Huh.
Like, you can literally, realistically see where, like, light is not bending, but it just seems to be not lighting her up as much as it should.
Alright.
Also, if you would
Saoirse.
like to add to Saoirse's equipment, Mask of Python.
Sure.
Yeah, the salamanders literally are looking at this whole group while they're all having this conversation. Like, why would our god gift us with these bumbling retards?
We had an orb.
What have they got that we haven't?
I mean,
Play a character. I know they really. It's like, what have they got? We have plot armor. Fucking assholes.
I mean, it's only the two of us that are like that crazy.
You say as your nose goes red.
We say as one character believes that a god is whispering in her head to destroy all undead, and one character is legitimately insane. One character is a fairy. One character has tentacles and it gets powers from an eldritch god.
Last one just wants to fuck everyone.
You didn't miss much. When Jeanette shone her light on Saoirse's face, lantern of revealing, it actually seemed to drink up light beams that were being poured onto her.
It's not that bad.
Saoirse thinks it's double neat now.
It's super double cool.
Exactly.
This is very cool.
Also, she said that we should get.
Well.
Also, she said that we should get out of the blasted lands, which is where we are. So we were going to start to move out soon, once we're done waking up the horses.
Yes, the local beasts have been undoubtedly quite scared into hiding by the appearance of our god. But one does not tarry unnecessarily. We'll take you back to our village. From there we will see what we can learn about this quest you have been bestowed upon.
Okay.
Are there lots of cool dragon people?
Thank you.
Raisin, wake up.
Yeah, your horses wake up. Like, there's probably a moment of, like, wide-eyed panic from the two of them before they, like, settle down. Although they are now very uncertain about the fact that the scenery changed in between a thing happening.
Raisin, I expected
Henry,
better
or
of you.
should we just let him?
I mean, Henry wakes up, but he's just sort of sat in the carriage ready to go.
He's already opened up the cookie jar, just watching this entire thing from the window.
Yeah, considering half of you are all, like, absolutely not, like, plainslanders, like Anna is, a salamander will stand amongst your group each, keeping you all from, like, freezing to death on the journey.
Oh, thank God.
They are all very much sources of heat.
Gonna have to.
While adjacent to these salamanders, you do not risk any kind of exposure harm.
Gonna have to invest in a lot heavier clothes when we get to this village.
We keep some number of clothing, yes. We will see to this.
I got these panties of warmth, but I doubt they're doing that much.
They aren't able to accomplish that much. Oh,
yeah, they keep your muff warm. That's about it.
Okay.
Can I touch your tail?
You want to talk to my tail, pardon?
Touch.
Can I touch it?
You want to touch my tail? Goodness, that's very forward of you.
Oh. At least it's mine.
Give me a persuade.
I want to touch it.
Fuck.
Of course. The savanting continues.
Of course. She'll sigh and flip her tail forward. I suppose you were brought here by a god. Yes, if you wish to.
I will be very careful. I will gently stroke and pat. This is the best thing ever.
Her face scrunches up and she tries very hard to avoid eye contact as she is petted.
Oh.
Are you quite done now?
It's alright to enjoy it. It's not a bad thing.
Okay.
Shut up.
Do you want to touch mine?
No, thank you. It's rather sinuous.
Oh, okay.
I think she means sensuous.
Also, it appears to be wielding a dagger that you've set on fire to pretend to be the...
Yes.
Oops,
Yeah.
that's Jeanette. That's Saoirse, not
Flame
Jeanette.
blade.
I forgot to switch over from that. Oh well.
Oh,
And yes.
that button is still broken.
Yeah. Shrenzo Gieleth will direct you guys deeper. It's probably an hour's journey. She takes you past the Black Obsidian lands, and that clears things out a lot, but it's still, cold and miserable. Thankfully, there are now some trees keeping you from all, like, getting cut to pieces by
the wind.
The wind itself, yeah. I was trying to think, what's that word for stuff? It gusts. Wind? Fuck!
I think this is a very cool adventure.
Oh,
An
yeah,
adventure, I suppose it technically is for you. Yes. So please, I suppose this is a point of curiosity. What is it like beyond the Isle?
Well, there's
Let's
a
go.
lot of snow and mountains. It's very diverse, really. All kinds of stuff.
The lands are under the auspices of the werewolf kind. Well, the were kind.
I see. We have one lycanthrope amongst us, but they're getting rather on in their years. It would seem their bite doesn't take to us, so those who have tried to accomplish being little furry dragons hasn't quite worked out for them. She'll look almost scandalized by the prospect.
The lycanthrope condition does not pass on to tieflings or, well, me or fae kind.
Well, it doesn't pass on, but it does if they, well, sort of, kind of. Like, if a tiefling and, well, werewolf, well, you get something like me.
I meant, like, the bite.
Yes, yeah, I know,
Passed.
I get you. I know.
I have done research on this subject. Science.
Yes, sadly, the conception of those with the blood of a dragon within them takes a very long time, and it is not known for its ability to blend with others particularly well.
Saoirse very proudly states that she tried once.
I see.
Nod.
Some of my sisters or brothers from across.
Yeah, one of my best friends.
Oh, well, it is a pleasure to know that my people are treated well enough, then. If they are courted by the Fae.
She was nice.
Your passage is slowed a little bit by the trees. There isn't, like, a pathway or a road around here, so they're having to try and take as circuitous a route as they can to, like, get the caravan through. But you reach the other end of these woods and trees before, the actual depths of night occur, and you're all feeling rather quite tired. Your way is lit by a legion of very warm dragon people, which is quite nice. Yeah, likewise, a number of our scouts seem intrigued about you. Titian has still remained very much quiet in all of this. Ludwig is taking things in stride because he's a good boy. Viv flirts with all of them. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Desperate dragon lust.
Yeah. Such a lust for dragon.
Sorry, I was up. Yes, she's absolutely flirting with them.
Fuck it. Give me a persuasion. She gets some interesting responses. You get some interested responses back, but at the same time, you're kind of scary foreigners who got dropped off into the land by the god of their people.
I wasn't gonna propose anything until we were at a village or something.
Yeah. They're intrigued with you guys, but certainly on the lines of being very cautious about it. They're hard to approach in one-to-one conversation. I better fast you move. I have a ring, but it's a cock ring, baby. Yeah. You clear the line of the trees, and you can see a familiar sight. Smoke rising from chimneys. As you crest a little hill, you can see that there is a village. The structures appear to be mixtures of wood and stone. The style of them is what one would consider different, really. Like, a lot of villages had blendings of like typical human construction and some older buildings, things that might have been like churches or places of like learning in bigger cities would have had an elven style to them, because their buildings don't tend to fall down all that often. Around here, there's none of that like same level of humanity. Like, doors don't have that same standard size. They're all a little bit taller or a little bit wider. Like, doorways are also not wood, because those things are quite easy to burn with the tail as you walk through them. So the doorways all appear to have like these I suppose screen is an incorrect way to describe it, but they do seem to have like this plant-like mesh on their lining of them, so that they don't catch fire. Anyone who knows plants and stuff is welcome to give me some kind of test to figure out what the fuck it actually is.
Sure.
Fusion knows plants.
24, assuming Titian's helping.
Titian's distracted, but he's distracted, but when you nudge him, he'll be like, yeah, that's I mean, I know that stuff looks leafy. It's kind of like a moss, really. You have to be careful and keep that stuff trimmed, but it's pretty resilient.
I see.
He doesn't know the name for it, because Titian himself, I can't remember actually. Does he speak Draconic? In which case he might know a name.
It's a good question. Let's find out. I don't know if Titian speaks any language, actually, but... Let's see. Languages, blank. He doesn't even speak Elvish. Or Common.
Nah, you know what, 1 second. Let's see here. Can you roll me 3d6, please?
Sure. 8.
Okay.
Just to fill in 8 different languages.
And there's 5 in there, so yeah, we will say Draconic is in it. He describes it to you in the Draconic word, and the closest approximation is, simply put, fire moss. There you go. He knows Common, Elvish, Infernal, Abyssal, Script, Speak, Elven, Runes, Elven, and Draconic.
Neat.
I've put them all in.
I mean, it just makes sense that he knows Infernal.
Yep. Yeah, he's an accomplished speaker of the languages. You guys will probably never come across Script Speak or Rune Speak, but they exist and they are different dialect, but he knows the Elven ones. And yeah. He'll tell you that that's fire moss. They can grow it on pretty much any surface, assuming that it doesn't like get well. Simply put, if it's spent too long in like direct sunlight, its growth would cease. But in like hours and days like this, like you'd only be afraid of trimming too much away in the summer.
So it doesn't grow in the summer?
It doesn't grow in the summer.
Hmm. What's it for?
Doors.
It is fire retardant. So they've got it over things like doors or like entryways, anywhere where, you know, going through it, there's a really good chance of you catching it with your fiery tail.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Should take some of that home.
When you say that, she'll look down at you. We have some growth patches, I suppose, if you would like to try and harvest some.
Oh, yes. Be very handy to have something to help put out fires back at the keep.
You know what? I bet it would be. I bet you could like make that moss into some really nice oven mitts.
She paused. Yes, that would be a use for them. We often find that it isn't a comfy material per se, which is why we tend to leave it to buildings and not clothing.
Oven mitts aren't used for very long, though.
Yes, I suspect so. And yeah, the village is stone and wood longhouses with these like fire retardant doors. Like you can see that it's used in some places as well for like just feet mats and typical shit like that because, you know, they're growing this stuff. It just grows all the time. It is pointless for them to not take advantage of such a very useful plant. Yeah. When you reach the building, there isn't anywhere really to put your carriage, but your horses are gonna need some cover because it's fucking freezing. Do you have to be in your dome for it to stay casted?
Yes, if I leave, it pops.
Okay.
So, I mean, I guess I've been sitting like in the driver's seat of the carriage, and I've been just moving the dome with me, just around the horse.
No, you can't do that. I'm afraid the dome does not travel.
All right, then yeah, it popped, and I'm sitting, freezing my ass off, like with one hand out the window, driving the carriage.
You got like a commander next to you.
Yeah, but you've probably got a Amanda Scout sat next to you, keeping you warm.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, in that case.
Yeah, they came along to basically, you know, keep you guys from all freezing.
Yeah, it'd be real embarrassing for the dragon if he dropped us here and then just comes back
then
looking for his orb.
died of exposure.
Yeah, we're just fucking popsicles sitting like 5 feet away from where he dropped us. God damn.
Damn mortals, you can't fucking rely on them for anything. Yeah. Useless.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, you are brought into this village. They will handle, you know, like moving your carriage and your horses into some cover. They don't have a stables, but they have some like homes that aren't seeing use. She will say things to a couple of scouts. They go and fetch some other people. There are larger salamanders, more akin to her size than these scouts that are trailing behind her. You've seen, you know, just large salamanders before. They were as the large-sized woman back down in whatever the fuck it was. Back down in Watchland in the bar. And yeah, some women more of that stature will come along. A couple of men as well. You can see that they happen to have slightly more draconic features to them, like just a larger number of like scale patchings along like their neck and probably going down to their chest, etc. They go up to a building that is empty. They take out a number of sharp implements and take away the wall. It takes them about 10 minutes or so to essentially take out a segment of wall so you can just wheel a carriage indoors. And then they just place the wall up against it again once the horses are inside.
Okay, so who do we have to go see? The elders, I believe it was?
Yes, well, more our medicine woman. Please, do come with me. And scouts will... Well, they were about to fall out, but then they realize the moment they step away, you're all just like... they'll just filter back in again.
I'll still try to utter a sultry gladly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work because I'm really, really cold.
Yeah, gladly.
Basically.
Yeah, the salamanders fall back into place beside you guys again, so you can, you know, walk and not freeze. and you are taken to a building. It is quite nice. It's not like it's taller or anything, it's just longer, as one might expect in these kinds of places.
A longhouse.
It is a long... Yes, you beat me to it. The house is long. If only there was some kind of name for such a structure.
I mean, the people that used it were from where I am, so...
Yeah. We find the Viking Manders. This, yeah, Sharjalayath introduces you to Jorg Flogmander.
I mean, that's more my style, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true. One of the scouts will say, and it's fine. We will depart once you're inside, though. We need to return to the trees. Keep an eye on things.
You're going.
The beasts will be awake soon.
The beast? What kind of beast?
The dangerous kind, of course.
Great
They don't
beast?
tend to stray close to the village, but we've found that keeping an active movement in the forest keeps them away.
Ah, the great beast like in our lands. Useful for alchemy reagents.
I would not say there is anything great about them, but such as it might be, I do not know the names you give to everything. They're not
Great as in
scouts.
large, not good.
They're not that large, no.
Thyri just looks at the giant woman.
She'll shrug. They aren't that large.
Do you have any squiggles in this land? In this island?
Squiggles, sorry?
Oh, let me show you. That's so cute. It's the best thing. I'll pull Squiggles out and hold her up like a doll. This is a Squiggles. And they are the cutest things ever.
Yeah, it does a squeak. To you, it seems like a pleased introductory squeak. To everyone else, it sounds like the same squeak everyone hears every time. Oh, except for as well Ludwig. Ludwig can tell the difference between the squeaks because I think he crit that. Ludwig does speak squeak. Which makes sense. He speaks squeaky toy.
Oh god, I should get Ludwig a squeaky toy and then teach him Morse code.
Morse code.
Yeah, there you go.
That's pretty great. Although sadly you have seen that his teeth, like him biting things, does tend to slowly disintegrate them.
You'd have to get many squeaky toys.
Just buy a box of the bastards.
Or you could just have me make a squeaky toy that doesn't dissolve. I've made weirder stuff.
This is a squeaky toy that never loses its squeak.
The eternal squeaky toy.
The eternal squeaky toy.
I know somebody who'd like that.
Judgmental eyes. Well, no, not surprised eyes from Tasha.
Ball?
Yes, you guys enter the longhouse, and it is blessedly warm. There were at least 3 chimneys, and you see that there are a number of people sat at, long tables, drinking and eating and talking. That comes to a sudden pause at the sight of, absolute 100% motherfucking strangers. You have no doubt that they probably heard the dragon's voice from all the way back here, or at least his entrance and exit. So that was presumably what they were talking about until this very moment where they all come to a stop. There are a few youngsters, very young-looking salamanders. They're probably... Yeah, they're probably, scout-sized, but they all have the youthful features that, Astra seems to have, where, they've reached their quote-unquote tiefling maturity, but it's, going to take a while after that. There are indeed mini-manders. Yep. It wasn't a lantern of revealing waved around. Didn't that make Thyri's disguise self go away?
Not sure if that's what it does. It reveals hidden objects and people that are cloaked by invisibility.
Okay, I guess it doesn't pop disguise self then.
I don't think it's just automatically no more illusions. It's just specifically no more invisible things.
Okay, excellent. I'm gonna say otherwise that's a fucking terrifyingly powerful object. And
Yeah.
that would be the kind of thing that people would have, I don't know, in the Ashen Hold, just waving it over everyone.
Yeah. Just invisible stuff.
I mean, they have sense stones, but sense stones just tell you that there's someone there who is disguised. Yeah, they will look at the lot of you. There are a few youngster manders who are like halfway through what appears to be some kind of pie full of meat.
Ooh.
Hello.
Hi.
There'll be some muttering in Draconic before one of them will speak up in Common. Hello there. And with that, they all sort of like go quiet again, like craning to look at the lot of you until there's a soft. And they all like bolt upright a little bit and look across the like very end of the long table. You can see there is a man who is dressed like, think tribal village shaman. He's got long, like flowing-y scarf covered in teeth and beads. His tail's flame is huge. I think huge is a good way to describe it. Like, it's just broad. It reaches up higher. It's sort of, his tail is extended at its maximum length for like maximum not burning own stuff. Look out across you. Welcome to our village. Please, take a seat, grab some drinks and grab some food. I will be with you in but a single moment. He moves to stand up from behind the table, and as he does so, you can see that he stands on one leg, grabbing a cane which holds him up the rest of the way. The other is missing, probably from the very top of the thigh.
Alright. Thyri will resist the urge to be like, oh, let me help, because, doesn't want to offend him.
Yeah, he's still also, like, just way bigger than you guys.
Yeah.
He's a big boy.
I couldn't actually help if I wanted to.
Yeah. And it's at that point, my dears, that we're going to call the session to a close, because I still have a stomach ache, and I need to deal with that.
What?
Oh
Okay.
no.
Sleep.
Yes.
Aw.
Yes, you can go to bed, Stray.
Yay. Thanks for running, Scout. It was awesome. I am
It was fun.
100% in favor. It turned out even better, Savin.
Yep, it turned out
really
better than
did.
I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it turned out
you guys
pretty
didn't
good.
do any. You guys didn't do anything stupid. You let him be cryptic and leave. Like, you could have tried to pump him for information, and then I would have made it into a skill test. But if you failed, you would have probably not been very happy with you guys.
I didn't want to ask someone who talked about devouring ancient things. I really, really didn't want to pester him. Jeanette has that whole self-preservation instinct.
Yeah,
How did you make it to be an adventure with
Huge
that?
dragon.
Yeah, Maltrex the Abyssal, Great Father of Wormkind, Drinker of Immortal Souls, and the End of the Endless Sea.
Yeah, so no.
Yeah, if anyone's the end of endless anything, you don't want to deal with
Yeah,
that.
you just leave them the fuck alone.
I don't know. He's probably like a CR 9, maybe 10. Everything probably been fine.
CR24.
No, that wouldn't be balanced. Scout wouldn't do that to us, right?
What? We annoy a physical god?
Oh,
Even if you
Jesus
pass, you will
Christ.
get. Yeah, even if you pass, you guys all die.
Well, I mean, if
Actually
I pass, I don't
die, too.
take any damage.
No, guys, just go up and start stabbing the Red Queen. You'll survive just about as well. Goodbye.